So how do you flip bias? We had a failure of a major demand zone today. This is some TA that we've been using for trades on the macro, like this 4-hour range for the past week or so. So it is currently Monday, April 15th as I'm filming this video, right? So we just broke this major demand area. So by the time you see this video, it'll be a few days later. But how do you flip bias? One of the most important things as a trader. Now we did have a trade plan here, right? Basically we had a zone which was around 80 points on NQ, which is a previous demand zone. And if we cracked that zone, we called the play to go short, right? So we were shorting into the zone. I took a long at the beginning of the zone with a very tight stop, looking for a bounce at like 18,079. I'll show you my chart here in a second, which, failed. It's right at that level. And we just had momentum lower at that point. I'm like, hands off. No point in trying to catch a falling knife, right? And then outside of the zone, that's where we look to short. So at this point, we're short mode, took a little chase short, lower, only for like 40 or 50. We got like another 150 points of opportunity after that though. So how do you switch bias though? When something goes through your level, how do you stop from knife catching mode into knife wielding mode? No, I'm kidding. You're not wielding the knife in this. But how do we flip that bias? Okay, all of this comes down to having a trading plan. I'll talk about why this works in general and a little bit of auction theory, but let's go ahead and pop into the charts and just take a look. For those of you who are new here, my name's Forrest. I'm a day trader. I help people learn how to trade and understand personal finance and things like that. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button. If you want a day trading community, go to the link below. wap.com/trade-edge gives you a link to my Discord called Trade Edge. Myself and other traders in there. We live stream every single day. There's a 7-day free trial and there's a free journal. So if you need a free trading journal, I made one for you. Let's take a look. All right. So we are looking at NQ. And let's go back in time to just earlier in the week, okay? So we round back to Friday. So Friday we actually sold off. That's fine, okay? And we get to today. So we get to today. You can see here on Friday close on the 4-hour, we have this doji right here. We're getting close to this macro demand zone. Now let me turn off the session volume profile. Let's clean this up a little bit. We also don't need VWAP. So we just have the visible range volume profile. For those of you who are new here, the volume profile gives you volume at price, okay? So I'm a price and volume trader, structure trader. Don't really know what to call these things. This is what I use it. So don't confuse it with other things that you've heard. But my actual literal approach to the market is analyzing the structure and looking at price and then applying, auction theory to that. So what does that mean, Mr. Forrest? Okay, well, we have a huge amount of volume here in this node within this visible range. Okay, so the volume profile is going to show me volume at prices. So at this price, for example, there is a ton of volume. This price is 18,295 and some change. Okay, we can see that there's less volume at this price. So there's a lot of volume at this price, less volume here, very little volume here, a little bit more relative there. Okay, cool. We came down to this prior day POC. What's the POC? Well, it's a point of control. If I turn on the session volume profile, we can see that this was the volume profile for this previous session, not on the 4-hour, but probably on the 1-hour time frame. If I go down to that, let's take a look. The point of control is the area in the price with the most volume. So you can see there's a red line right here, and I put this blue bar here, right? So within this session on Friday, this was the price with the most volume, 18,154. Cool. Why do I have this red bar here? Let's go back to the 4-hour. Let's get rid of this. Well, you can see, and I literally have a video where I already talked about this, but we bought this here, bought this here, bought this here, we bought this here, we bought this here, okay? Just looking at prior work, we've bought up this area. Oh, let me actually adjust this for contracts. Like this doesn't look correct. We bought it here, and we bought it here, okay? So we have, I need to get rid of this. We have bought this up all these previous times. So we're coming back into this zone. Get back to where we were with the replay. Okay, so we're here. We get that doji. Oh my goodness. Why is TradingView just acting up today, guys? So we're here. Okay, so we're here. What are the odds that we bounce here? Pretty high. So we were looking for longs overnight. We also have this little trend line here, which you can see. This in orange. This is a shorter time frame trend line. It's like a dynamic trend line that I drew basically. We bounce off of it. Cool. This is a nice, from here to here to this 18,278. It's 148 points and some change. If you're looking for that, we come up. Look where we went, right into that node where there's previous participation in the auction. We actually ran through it a little bit up to 18,350. Then there was this huge sell. On the lowers, go to the 5-minute. We turn on VWAP, session volume profile. And if we rewind back to this time, okay, let's look what happened in the middle of the session. So we came down, kissed VWAP here, started running through it, got a little rejection bounce. We were talking about maybe an M, but we start to roll over here, do this little shoulder. So we're calling out, looking for shorts here into where the major liquidity target, right? We want a long out of this major liquidity target, okay? We're getting a lot of red. We're getting a lot of red. Do I still want to long this? I mean, that's some serious red. We bounced off the previous day POC, comes back to the current POC. You can see that previous day POC came into play perfectly, right? So here's where we're looking to buy right here. So at this point, I have a long with like a 2-point stop, very, very tight. Honestly, kind of a silly long, but I already had it on there and wasn't worried about losing 2 points. I was already up like 2 G's on the day, okay? Crashes through. At this point, you have to look at the volume. Is there any signal to long here? No. And also on the macro, we know that when we get through this major demand zone, if all of these buyers who've bid it up this many times don't buy it up this time, you have to ask yourself, do I want to keep buying below this zone? So as soon as we crack this zone, that's where we flip bias, right? We flip bias. And if you flip bias, look what happens. You flip that bias, we run, and we come down to this macro trend line right here. So this is a trend line. If we go to the 4-hour, we see that this goes all the way back, way down here, okay? And if you shorted from the bottom of the zone to here, I mean, there's 150 points of opportunity short right there, right? So only a few of that, which is fine. You don't have to get everything perfectly. I'm not a perfect trader by any means, but that'll work, right? If you take this, so I took this hit pretty heavy in my personal actually versus my prop accounts today. So it was a nice little trade there. All that is to say that your major levels still work, right? When they break, when you crack your major levels, you just need to flip bias, right? These are major zones. The market's an auction, right? So if people are saying, hey, we don't want to buy here anymore, that means that the sellers are going to outcompete the buyers, and the buyers are going to wait for a better price. That better price might be down here, right? We just bounced off of a line. The market's open right now. We have some previous lows here that we're rejecting off of 17,835. Okay, but this might run lower. I mean, this kind of looks like a continuation pattern right now. But that's how you can flip your bias to make more money. But you have to do it on a dime, right? You have to do it right after you get out of the zone, because what will happen is if you keep chasing these moves, you'll get absolutely sliced up, right? And you can erase days and days and days of profits by trying to chase these moves lower and lower. And it's as easy as that. You can actually see that we're running a little bit lower right now. So that's as simple as it is, right? So what are some criteria that you can use as a trader to apply this? All right. So one, you need to have an area that's been respected before. So don't do this on first touches. Okay. If you look at this move here, this wasn't the first touch into the zone. Again, we had all these touches here. So it needs to be a major level. If your major level gets tested, it gets cracked, right? You're probably going to get a continuation pattern, right? Probably going to get a measured move of whatever the impulse was into it. So that's some criteria to look for. It has to be a major level that's been respected before. Otherwise, what you can get is some fake out maneuver. Okay, very good example. This top trend line here, we did a little fake out return into it. This is an amazing short that we had. I made 3K on Friday, just one contract short. You get a little fake out like this, right? You don't want to play these. You want a true break of the area, right? And that's where the volume profile comes into play, looking at the zones and applying all those layers together. But flipping bias, the sooner that you're able to flip bias as a trader, the better you'll be. And just more so not letting your ego dictate trades. You know, one of the problems that I see with traders, and I'll put our own Discord on blast, is people don't ask questions. They don't ask questions until the last possible moment, they blow up. And I know why it is. It's because of ego. Right? Nobody wants to show their hand. But I already know what you guys are doing every time. I know what everybody's doing all the time. Smell it. It's so obvious. I don't want that to happen. Okay? So share what's happening, trade with a plan, and follow your plan. A lot of people might have even had this plan, but they didn't listen to their plan, so they still lost money because in the moment where everything's fast, it feels fast at least, you forget about the bigger picture. You forget about the macro. You forget about the 4 hour, the 1 day, all of that, and you get zoned in on the 3 and the 5 minute, and you lose money. You get chopped up, chip, chop, lose your P&L. So don't do that. That's it for this video. Quick one. I hope you enjoy it, appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, join the Discord, call your parents, tell you love them, hug a baby. Yep.